Hey everyone, welcome to Leaps of Knowledge.
It's Sarah and Adrian here, and we're stoked to have you with us today.
Leaps of Knowledge is a series of events that bring together the world's leading technologists, innovators, and shapers all on one stage.
Through this, we invite everyone to be a game changer in education. We've been on a 5-part virtual series following our heart values, and today is our final episode, Episode T, Think Ahead and Out of the Box.
What a journey it's been. It feels like just yesterday that we were preparing for the first episode.
Yeah man, if you missed any of the previous episodes, watch them all on our website.
Speaking of which, we have a quick update on our Joy campaign, which was launched with Episode E.
With your support, we managed to raise a total of 10,500 ringgit for Pusat Kreatif Kanak-Kanak Tuanku Banun, a creative center for underprivileged children. So thank you so much. We really couldn't have done this without you.
Now back to Episode T. It's going to premiere in a few minutes, and you might be watching this from different platforms, Facebook, YouTube, or on Leaps of Knowledge website itself.
No matter where you're at, join in at our last treasure hunt, which takes place during the episode. Now here's the challenge.
Submit your answers at this link. 5 winners will stand a chance to win exclusive merchandise. Follow us on Instagram to find out if you've won.
Right after the episode, there will be a Connect session where you can leap into conversations with like-minded people about topics that were discussed during the episode.
Yes, and this time, Connect is going to be slightly different from before. We're having 2 very special guests at Connect.
Little guests.
So come and join us at Connect right after this. Let's finish this series together.
Okay, we are starting. See you on the chat on the leapsofknowledge.com page if you're watching it there. Enjoy!
Ask any student what they feel about school and classrooms today, and you might get this.
Stressful.
Exam.
Mixed feelings, love-hate relationship.
Not much feeling, like bland.
Long hours.
Sometimes it's boring, but sometimes it's fun.
SPM, hear all the stress where, teachers will be like giving you stuff.
A journey I can experience with my friends.
With people in it, it's welcoming. Without people in it, it's kind of very cold and distant.
School shouldn't be stressful or boring. It should be something to look forward to, a place to build good friendships, and to explore and discover new things about ourselves and the world around us.
A place where learning is fun, meaningful, and purposeful. Perhaps it's time to reimagine and ask ourselves, how can we prepare students to thrive in tomorrow's world?
Look into the great unknown, building new railways for old trains of thought. We're thinking ahead of the now, and we're getting out the box. So in this heart of mine, I'll choose to be the lead in lighting up our destiny. Because the world is mine, take courage, choose belief. I was meant to take a leap, take the leap.
Welcome to Episode T, Think Ahead and Out of the Box. Skole, Greek for leisure, is where the English word school comes from. Now that's rather interesting because typically you wouldn't associate school with leisure.
But in ancient Greece, to be pursuing education was to be at leisure. This is because education was not merely about preparing people to be productive in society. The goal behind education was for seeking truth and enjoying the process of it.
Yet, classrooms as we see them today have looked the same for a very long time. And the basic model of a typical classroom isn't generally designed for exploration or holistic learning of this kind.
In a world where technology is advancing and students of today are expected to innovate for the future, how can we think about different ways of presenting education to prepare them? How can we reimagine the learning environment to be one that is motivating, meaningful, inspiring, and fun?
To be able to effectively design something that will work best, we first need to understand the people whom we are designing for and empathize with their experiences. In this case, students.
I think now children were being held at a pedestal based on academic validation. So I think it would be nice if we would get to choose our classes based on what we want in our future and what our strengths and weaknesses are. I think we are being held back on a lot of our personal strengths. I think there are not a lot of classes to help our creativity, and it's all academic, which I don't really like.
And I feel like we should have maybe a subject where we just learn general stuff about life, not just a subject, life, taxes and insurance and debt and banks and credit cards.
All teachers, they have their own method or way to teach students, but I really hope that more teachers can be more creative during the class, so that the students won't feel very bored.
I think maybe the teachers could let us talk more, because other than just giving us many homework, maybe they could ask us how are we doing at home, because I don't think I have ever been asked by my teachers how are we at home, or how living in pandemic.
Such that maybe there could be ways, I don't know, speakers or stuff that could help us for when we go to higher education, prepare us or give us a better clue of what we want to study.
Oh, you know what? Classrooms where you don't have to sit down all the time. For me, sitting down all the time, I can't do that, man. I just need to stand up. Sometimes I just get so anxious, I want to walk around. I guess I have a lot of anxiety going to exams, and I literally get a mental block,
Hearing what students have to say is always a real eye-opener. From these conversations, we gathered that students enjoy learning when they know it will prepare them for the real world. They need to know that they're learning skills that they can apply to life and not just memorize information to answer questions on an exam paper.
Yeah, unfortunately, the stress they experience from the amount of homework and the pressure to perform can cloud their perception of the purpose of learning.
So many of our best learning experiences and development opportunities take place in the relationships we have with the people around us, our peers, teachers, and parents. This matters a lot.
Understanding all this, we gathered some of the brightest minds from different backgrounds and life experiences to reimagine school together.
Yeah. I think maybe you go to school and start with something positive, right? Because somebody mentioned just now, some skill activity.
So if you're doing things like learning, acquiring knowledge, I think that's something that can be very personal. But I think you still want kids an opportunity to come together and socialize and, solve problems together. So every collective learning experience, so if there's any form of classroom stuff, that collective learning experience should be practical and experience based, and getting kids to do a task that is real life,
or even different age groups. I think that's so important. Her getting to see a 17-year-old that comes in and talks, and then the 17-year-old is given a leadership role. She gets to mentor a younger kid, having that space to be led and lead at the same time. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think a bit more on the teacher skill and trying to embed that more in the work. Especially, I think group work is probably the best, but we can't just say, hey, work in groups and work on a project, right? There needs to be some form of reflection. There needs to be some form of facilitated debrief also about how did certain characters play, did certain characteristics show up, and how they're not, who's the introvert, who's the extrovert, who shoots people's ideas down, that type of dialogue should be facilitated.
We then reimagine the role of the teacher and talk about them as mentors and say, hey, what are you talking about and thinking? And so the mentor may have some things that they can help them out with. And then we push them out into the real world.
And then that time that you schedule, that peer-to-peer time before they go off to do their whatever project is, whatever they're at for that day, that peer-to-peer time, just being able to talk to each other, being able to say, hey, what are you doing right now? Oh, that sounds really cool. And hey, I did this other thing. And then I get to bounce ideas off you based on, you may be studying something completely different, you may be doing something completely different, or is there something we can collaborate on?
Research shows that classes which use peer learning, a form of active learning, can narrow the gap between individual performance of students in a given classroom.
That's really interesting because it means peer learning also helps to level the playing field for all students. They complement each other instead of compete. Kiran Sethi, the founder of Riverside School and Design for Change, talks about this too.
I think so much of education for the longest time has asked children to be different, from each other, from the rest, etc. And that competitive idea that I can only be unique if I'm different has possibly brought so much of damage to self-esteem and the understanding of who I am. I think the nuance of different and difference is really at the heart of education. Self-worth, that really is it. It's at the heart of it, right? The idea is, and that's why this pressure of competition that happens with children very early. I am not good enough. I am not tall enough. I am not thin enough. I am not fair enough. Where does this come from? If I have a sense of self-worth, I recognize that I am, again, I come back to the idea of I'm not competing. I'm not having a us versus them mindset. Suddenly the mindset is better together. Better together. That means I am not competing with you, I'm completing your story, and therefore the piece of the jigsaw puzzle fill up together.
A sense of self-worth definitely enables a child to look out for others and not just for themselves. What else can we focus on to help students thrive in life?
Success in Asia is always determined by the success of your job and how much money you make. But success is also measured by your happiness level. And I think that now even more so, we've realized that in lockdown. So perhaps we need a new matrix of measuring how we produce kids in order for them to thrive in life. Because that's what we want to do. We want to give them the grounding for them to be able to go forth and conquer, so to speak.
I guess it is true that if you're happy, you want to do, but also instilling this sense of purpose to, I think in school, historically, we used to just learn it because of this is what the teacher wants me to do. But when you start instilling a sense of purpose to why you should be learning this and what impact it gives to you.
Our idea is around redesigning the ecosystem of the school. So for the teachers, in terms of the performance management level, that they're not to be measured on academic results per se, that the introduction of something new targets on, say, emotional intelligence, et cetera, is introduced. And then within the classroom becomes reimagined. We either have a greater proportion of subjects that teach them that sense of purpose, that are focused on introducing what purpose is.
I believe that for the longest time, we got children to do things without understanding why and for whom. So invariably, I have walked into classes and I've basically asked them, what are you doing? And they will say, oh, teacher told me to do this, or, teacher told me to do that. That's your first flag. That's your first flag as a school, as a teacher, to say, if they have no purpose or they have no ownership, if our children don't have ownership to the change, then they're going to keep doing it as an observer.
I really like what we came up with there. The need for a sense of purpose is so important for young people.
Yeah, I think when students have a sense of purpose, they're able to navigate challenging times a little better, whether that's being kinder to themselves or to others. They have more ownership over their learning experience because they understand why they need to learn something or to go through hardships.
This kind of reminds me of something Darcy Lunn, founder of Teaspoons of Change, said.
I think the demand from our society and certainly from our students is that they can engage with challenges, but also work towards solutions. And so it just isn't working at the moment. If you're a school that tries to produce students who are literate and have good numeracy, they have to also be caring people and have their own set of social emotional skills so they can flourish in the world and just be happier people. You know, that's an important part of the process of education, is it's a social experiment. We want students to feel good about themselves and feel good about the world and to go and play an active role in that world. Not everyone has to go off and work for UNICEF or for the UN, but they can make a positive impact no matter what they choose to do in the future.
I think that calls us to have a different perspective about a student's education experience. Perhaps give them more agency in their learning journey.
That's a great idea. But can we trust students to make the right decisions for themselves?
I'm just thinking because, like, if let's say you're going to high school and you're really young, right? You technically don't really know what's out there, what you can do. So I guess there should be some sort of assessment, but like a really fun way of assessing.
I like the idea of like asking the kids, like, what are you interested in, and giving them those different opportunities, different touch points to reach them in different ways.
So once you are there, you do whatever activity with your friends, and then you get to decide today which part of that portfolio that you have to finish that you want to complete for the day.
And also there has to be some way that we quantify like what their learning is, right? But like in a way that's meaningful to them. So for some people, like they are readers and they are thinkers and they are doers. And so for them, the traditional exam-based test works for them. For some people, it's a project. For some people, it's a presentation, something they built or whatever.
Guys, this sounds like uni. Like uni life, but in high school.
So all this while in school, so much of hand-holding, so tight structure, and then suddenly you go to university and like you have to manage your own time. I think that's the part that a lot of our students struggle with. So perhaps if they are inducted to this kind of learning, really the independence over how they decide their time, how are they going to manage these things, I feel like it will be really ideal. That transition will be smoother.
Well, it's this idea of student agency, that students are not passive consumers of learning, but they take an active role in shaping their learning experiences and see that what they do will make a difference, will have an impact now for themselves, for others. I think that's a very, very important concept. Agency should be the heart of education. You can look at the most advanced education systems and learn a lot from this. I think what you see there is that teachers are not just teaching in the classroom, but they typically have a fair amount of time to spend outside the classroom, to work with individual students, to work with other teachers on the development of new pedagogies, to work on project-based authentic learning experiences together with colleagues from other fields, to actually observe other teachers' classrooms, to engage in professional learning communities. I think creating that space is not about, attracting magicians into the teaching profession. It's not about, giving them, years and years of university education up front. It's about creating a work environment where not just students learn, but everybody learns, teachers included. And if we make that happen every day, we create a very different mindset among teachers. It's not about, delivering the past, it's about creating the future. And I think many teachers are ready for this. They just often miss that kind of open work environment, that level of professional autonomy and that level of a collaborative culture that is needed to make that work. The future pushes us to think much harder about what makes us different from the artificial intelligence we've created in our computers. And curiosity, courage, empathy, leadership, those kinds of character qualities will be absolutely central for us to be responsible citizens, to be able to think for ourselves, but also to work with other people, to have that agency, but also that co-agency, to work with people who are different from us. And so I hope that this will help us in the future.
So at this point, we've come up with a few ways of possibly addressing the issues which students experience. Creating an enjoyable and collaborative learning environment that emphasizes relationship building and self-worth.
Perhaps a curriculum that helps students to find their sense of purpose and learn skills that they feel are relevant to what they can do in the future.
Applying an approach to learning that encourages student agency and where teachers are part of creating authentic learning experiences instead of just having their performance evaluated on the outcome of students' grades.
Now, how can we use all these ideas and work towards building a completely different learning environment?
So, if we are thinking about the learning environments, I think that the essence is that we should start with the fundamental question of where does the learning take place? And then my answer is it can take place anywhere. So learning environment is not a classroom which is looking creative, meaning is that it has colorful bean bags or something like that. For me, it should be meaningful and flexible. And I think that, for example, the current education all over the world is not using as much as we could, for example, the natural environments, meaning going outside of the school walls, going to the city, going to the parks, going to the woods, going to the supermarkets, and so on. Because I think that learning we should be using more topics and kind of like real world relevance in our learning instead of trying to do everything within the school walls and trying to create those environments as creative as possible. So I would say is that learning can take place anywhere, and let's be more flexible about the learning environments. And learning environments, they can be, as you know, they can be physical, they can be digital, they can be social, and so on. So there's so many different kind of learning environments. So my tip would be is that be flexible and try things and accept that not everything works.
So the day starts at 9. What time does? 7:30, right? If school could start at 10 o'clock, that would be great.
Let's do it. Start at 10.
So basically, we planned out, there has to be a longer term semester plan and then detailed schedules later on.
And they will then whip open their school app, because every school needs one, where they receive a note from the principal. The whole point is to do away with the traditional, school assembly component. Now, subjects have been reimagined here. We're trying to get them outdoors. We're trying to get them hands-on. And for particular subjects that tend to be traditionally gender stereotyped in the current system, I think carpentry was listed as just for boys or cooking just for girls. We want to break that mold.
Maybe if the projects have like real customers or clients, like let's say like companies who come and collaborate with the school, then based on the feedback of the customers or clients, that will be their assessment. So it shouldn't be about a grade, right? So it should be about real world applications, if not just at least real people's feedback.
Okay, hold up. I've got to say, Michelle was really onto something there with the concept of real world application. Can we talk about that a little more? How would that look like in a school curriculum?
Actually, Kiran does this really well at her school too. At Riverside School in Ahmedabad, the curriculum revolves around solving real-world issues and literally designing for change. For example, getting grade 3 to grade 5 students to design and build an actual butterfly garden for their community.
In the learning that is so transdisciplinary and so purpose-driven, then the children seek out the math teacher, the language teacher for their needs. So there is this great deep dive that is happening. They created a butterfly garden in the municipal park. And the butterfly garden needed area perimeter, okay, because it was an odd shape and they needed to figure out the fencing, etc. They just called up the math teacher and said, Ichaman, we need you here. This is an odd shape for us, because they were grade 3 and 4, so 8 and 9-year-olds. And so they learned area perimeter by virtue of the need that the solution needed. So I guess if we recognize that children are hugely capable and they're telling us again and again, look at me, I can. And we tell them, no, not now. This is not part of your curriculum or your syllabus. And we completely sort of, again, reduce the learning into subjects. So I think that's really what we have to shift. And that's really part of your out of the box idea. There is no box. If the children can do it, why are you stopping it, right? It's that you have to kind of push back again and again.
In this context, teachers are more like mentors, really. They are available for students as students determine how they want to proceed in their learning.
Absolutely. So a school like this would help us meet our idea of enabling more student agency.
Yes, it's so important to give students context to their learning so they get why. And they also need the space to explore different things and pick up different skills.
Also, if we're talking about a school of the future, we need to talk about how technology can help with agency as well. Imagine if virtual reality could help you travel back in time and experience a history lesson of your choice at any time you like.
And instead of memorizing math formulas, we could download the information directly into our minds.
I know Kung Fu. I mean, F equals MA.
That would be awesome!
Whatever the idea, the best way to think about technology is as a tool and enabler to facilitate better learning experiences. I can imagine that it's possible right now to have a school app on a wearable watch that supports your learning and enables real-time tracking of progress.
Ideally, the platform also allows recommendations to be made, and the platform can track you and show you progress. Something like a Spotify algorithm, I suppose, and a Discover Weekly kind of plan. So then when you go into your semester plan, ideally it's done under mentorship of a teacher, and you have the capacity to speak about situations, and this is where you determine your portfolio of choice. So at the end of the semester, ideally there will be a capstone project in which you have set the goal from the beginning already, where it could be different ways of being assessed.
So, I mean, if we're looking at someone who is 15 and above, okay, I suppose that the amount of responsibility we could put on this child is different. Yeah, so you come up with what your goals are, right? But it still needs to be realistic in the sense that if you speak to your mentor and your mentor feels that you could do more, okay?
And I think if you start it from young, they start to be responsible for their own choices, and then there's consequences. If you do not live up to this freedom that you're given, then there's consequences to whatever the consequence might be. But it's a learning process that can start from a teen age.
They decide like the tone of the day. So okay, today we're going to be mindful of our friends' feelings. So I'm going to be mindful of, so that every week they go into a different tone. Usually like encouraged by their coach. So it's not teacher, right? So it's their coach, and then they try to act out so that the values part don't get lost in the middle of like independent learning and all that. There's still some values that they are working on.
Acting with integrity is probably one of the most important lessons that you can learn in education and in life. Ultimately, the greatest commodity of leadership is trustworthiness. And we need to know right now that if we want to have any sort of a positive impact on the world around us, it's far more dependent on our character than it is on our skills. And so acting with integrity and learning to act with integrity now will be a safeguard to whatever academic or societal achievement that you have in the future. Ultimately, people listen to people with integrity. If you want to be someone that people listen to, then work on the heart, work on the character, become a trustworthy person, and act with integrity.
Now that we've come up with a reimagined school, let's take the idea back to students and let them experience it.
So, welcome to the school.
Wow, this is so... I don't have words to describe this. This is very tremendous.
I think the first thing that I noticed when I first saw it is that it is so open. It is not like a closed space. It's so open. There's a lot of windows you can see through, a lot of air.
Welcome back. Semester reviews at Roma starting today. Here at Rhombus 1, we have Yuri. If you choose Yuri's experience, your semester will include core subjects and recommended electives.
Yuri is all in with tinkering, experiments, and solving real-world problems. For Yuri's experience will include unpacking the magic behind moving things from rockets to invisible things. A semester full of unlocking the mysteries of the universe.
These are custom fitted according to the theme of Yuri, the astronaut.
I feel like they are nurturing a lot of the students' curiosity, which is really good. And the way they word it with the tinkering and experiments, it's a lot more hands-on than the typical textbook.
It's like solving a mystery.
The Extronaut landing challenge. In an effort to land larger and more massive objects on Mars, a variety of parachutes are tested. Imagine an enclosure/device that decelerates an egg dropped from the floor. Your mission is to increase hang time, slowing the descent as much as possible.
It's just, but there's no padding or anything. I think it's gonna crack. I think so. It's a 50-50 chance. Depends on the parachute.
Yeah, the egg cracked. Yeah, I was right.
I love plants, right? So I think it's really, really cool that we're creating an environment where people are acknowledging plants and people are actually taking care of it, like a room that is specifically for plants. I think that's great. Well, my favorite place is nurseries. Literally, like every time I go to a nursery, I like post on Instagram, I'm like, oh, my favorite place. And you guys literally put a nursery there. So I mean, I think it's nice how like you take like also I think it's like edible stuff where you can like take it and like you put it for like the food, right, that you guys cook. And yeah, I really love plants. It's just so calming. That's so cool. I like the chairs too, so you can actually sit down and do work instead of just like looking at it. And like it'll be nice to like breathe in the fresh air while like doing work.
I think sometimes we just want to be like study really hard, but at the same time enjoy each other's presence. And with the plants and all that, I think it would offer a calm atmosphere for us students. So I think this is a special place. I think we would hang out.
Mass influences acceleration. Does a heavier or lighter car go further?
I think the pink.
The pink one?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think the mass is a lot more than the blue one.
I think the purple car will go further. It seems quite heavier with the stuff in it.
Bazinga, you couldn't have known it was a bowling ball. The purple car travels the furthest because it is actually the lightest. Mass influences acceleration. Oh, I see.
Oh, that was a ball.
The favorite place of school.
I'll normally use my break time to like complete homeworks from previous lessons. So I guess it's really nice that there's 1.5 hour break because you can really use it well.
I think it is great for students because I am a student, so I will maybe have time to chat with my friends, maybe about what I have discovered just now. So maybe I will increase my knowledge based on their experience in something else.
It's so fun to have a school like this.
I feel like the openness feel, I don't know how to say it, but it's just like
the open like sky, and then like the trees, they just give a very nice feel.
Libraries, because normally they say keep quiet in the library, but me and my friends, we just gather now in the library, and then we just start talking about about life, about school life and stuff like that. So I personally love the library.
That is so nice.
Having like a study cafe in the school, it's a very nice concept, and I think like the coffee part, it solves another problem, which is students actually sleeping in libraries, because most of the schools, if I'm not wrong, the library is like the most comfortable place to be, because there's like air conditioning and it's cool and it's quiet, so it's a good place to get away. And I think adding a coffee can solve the problem of people feeling sleepy in libraries as well.
I like that everything's really like people orientated, if that makes sense. It's like you can do it with your friends, with your teachers and stuff. Because like if you have like a music room, and then if you have like the friends, like because how like you go for music class like outside of school, but if it's also like in the room, right, your friends can teach you the instruments there, and then it looks like there was like a large array of instruments. So right, if there was like your friend can play violin, you can play drums, you can just like jam together, and especially with the extra like time from class, lunch break and like recess break, then you could like just hang out there. Chevron sounds so fancy.
Looks cool. I've never seen stuff like this in a school before, so I'm just like bamboozled right now.
To give more agency and enable a sense of purpose and independence, students get to choose their learning experience for each semester. We've seen Yuri, the astronaut, at Rhombus 1, and now we'll check out the next option at Rhombus 2, Lara, the explorer.
It's cool. It's like everything is like a museum, like this. Like I would come here like just to like look at it. Like it's so aesthetically pleasing and it's so interesting.
With Lara, the unknown is simply an exciting adventure to run into. I feel like people who would be taking this path are people who are passionate about this, so they would really love learning all of those subjects, right?
Engine 1 will read when full. Engine 1 has 31.25 gallons of fuel. The amount of fuel remaining in Engine 1 is 40% of Engine 2's total volume when full. And Engine 2 will read when full. Engine 2 is 60% more than Engine 1. Currently, there is 40% remaining. If the submarine can travel 8 kilometers per gallon, how far did the submarine travel?
Okay, I will organize the informations, and then I will discuss with my friends on maybe how can we solve this.
X marks the spot. You begin, get to Y, count your steps, and mark the coordinates. Don't let a rock get between you and a hard place.
Wait, oh my gosh, dude, what? This is like, when you do like geometry, right?
Going forward is not the same as going north. Being familiar with orientation helps you navigate. In what ways do we apply orientation and navigation every day?
Sometimes, like if we're going to like a destination that we're not familiar with, we'll probably navigate or like use maps or something.
My mom is a real estate agent, and most of the times people, before they buy a house, they will ask if it's facing the north, south, east, or west.
As part of the semester plan, a portion of time is dedicated towards a capstone project, which is a large collaborative effort from the students who follow Yuri and Lara's experience. Instead of just sitting for exams, students get the opportunity to apply what they've learned and work with specialists and community members. The learning culminates in solving real-world problems and bringing things to life. Earlier, we had Yuri's Extronaut landing challenge, the Newton race, Lara's engine challenge, and the orienteering walk the line lesson. All of these lessons are useful in executing the capstone project at the end of the semester, which is launching and navigating a real-life hot air balloon together. Everyone is invited to come and watch, family, community members, and friends.
Congratulations, students! You have come so far. Everyone, we thank you for being a part of this exciting launch, for contributing your time and effort, and working with Yuri and Lara's prodigies to make this capstone project a reality. What these students have learned over the semester is not simply just science, geography, and maths. They've learned determination, real-world problem solving, innovation, and collaboration. They have set a course, helped one another, and now they are all set to go.
Wow. This is so, wow, this is so beautiful.
Oh my god, I just feel like it's so nice. It's really amazing, it's so innovative, it's so futuristic even. And well, I'm speechless right now. I'm just so happy I got this opportunity and I get to see this virtual school.
I think that was really nice because when we have like two different pathways, and then when the concept of like meeting them together at the end, it makes you feel like I've finished like this path, and then meeting people from the other side, it feels like you like we ended this journey together, and then the sharing our experiences and like thoughts, it really makes like we've accomplished something together, even though it's in separate ways or like separate paths, like separate concepts. Feels like we're definitely like connecting with each other in the end.
I think that it's very different from the typical science stream and art stream. And I noticed that the core subjects are still there, but the extracurricular things are very different, which I really like about it. And the system where you mentioned that you get to pick and choose what subjects you get, it's very cool.
In school, we are like, oh, you are my teacher and I am the student. But in this school, like we all are friends, and then we can sit down in the teachers hub, and then we can like talk to each other and then share opinions together.
We actually like explore the campus and do many things that makes us like get our body moving. So just by that, it's already like it has already like solved some problems that students are experiencing, which is like boredom, or like usually they get sleepy during class. With this, by moving around like this, it already solves that problem. It makes us feel like we're here to learn, like literally here to learn.
I would be more motivated. Like I go to school because I don't want to get in trouble. But this would be a different reason.
I liked how everything was hands-on and there was no books and such, which is very different and very nice to see. And their method of teaching is really cool. You learn a lot, but you're not expecting to learn a lot.
Whenever you see a textbook, the first thing that comes up to your mind is you want to memorize it, not understand it. But when you learn in a space like this, the first thing that'll come up to your mind is I want to understand it. And there's like a vast difference between those two.
Of course, we have to think about the teachers. So like when given this type of like platform, this virtual school, I think not just students, but also teachers will get excited.
I think a lot of students don't know that a learning space can be this way. So we are creating good expectations that, for better learning to happen. I really appreciate that. I think what you showed throughout is that the community first must exist in school, that teachers and students must engage as community members, as equal partners. And that's what I appreciate the most. So the idea was there as well. At the same time, the infrastructure supported that idea, the transparent walls, the glass doors, the shared space among teachers and students. If you have shown this to a lot of the other teachers, perhaps one of the first things that they will say, wow, cantiknya sekolah, sekolah itu, sekolah. So they say, oh, we are not doing like this because our school does not look like that. The learning culture is something in their hands. It's not just about changing the environment. So what would help teachers is to assist them to see that infrastructure and all this are just tools. We need to have this shared belief of what we want to achieve and how we want to do this together.
That was incredibly inspiring. The sky really is the limit when it comes to thinking ahead and out of the box. Sitting?
Yeah, what we're doing here is just the beginning. An exercise to expand our horizons and let our minds really take us out of the box towards a future of endless possibilities.
Absolutely. All of us have the ability to reimagine what schools should look like. Sometimes we believe that change can only happen through changing our entire space. But the truth is, we don't really need a renovation to transform school.
Yeah, in your classroom, home, or any space that you have right now, whether it's in a concrete building in the city or in a small wooden shed on an island, you have the ability to transform your learning experiences. You can start by reimagining that difficult lesson that students simply don't get.
Or how might you create a different atmosphere in your current learning environment?
Just ask yourself, what simple thing can I do today for tomorrow? While classrooms may look different everywhere, the heart of a school, its mandate is universal, and it begins with you, me, and all of us.
It is our hope that throughout this Leaps of Knowledge series, you find pockets of inspiration. Start a conversation with those around you, students, teachers, parents, the community, and take it further together.
And remember, while there are so many ways of reimagining schools, all schools of tomorrow can be a school that engages the world and nurtures students who make a difference.
A school that sparks joy and invites collaboration.
A school that builds good character and values as strong foundations.
A school that excels in bringing out the best in everyone, even if it looks different from one child to another.
And finally, a school that knows no limits.
We look forward to seeing all the marvelous ideas that you'll come up with as you think ahead and out of the box. This has been Leaps of Knowledge, the Heart Series.
See you next time.
And we'll discover more in lighting up our destiny. I was meant to take a leap.
Oh my gosh, how cool was that?
Super cool.
I thought it was such a good introduction of how we can effectively redesign education.
Yeah, it was so good to hear from the students. Getting their real and raw feedback. Students really do have value-adding things to share when we give them a platform to.
Yeah, absolutely. After all, education is designed for students, isn't it?
Yes, so stay on for Connect.
Yeah, I think I'll stay here a little longer. I'm gonna miss this set, this backdrop, this frog, and everything about Leaps. I can't believe we've been through 5 whole episodes.
I know, right? Were you with us on this journey? We would really love to hear your feedback on this episode or on the whole series. Let us know at this link here.
All right, time for us to go. It's been such a pleasure hosting you guys over the past year.
If you enjoyed watching Leaps of Knowledge, the Heart series, share this link with your friends so they can watch it too.
Don't forget to fill in the feedback form or join our treasure hunt for the chance to win exclusive merchandise. Winners will be announced on our Instagram page.
Bye!
shifting the paradigm, ready or not. We're thinking ahead of it now, and we're getting out the box. So in this heart of mine, I'll choose to be the lead in lighting up our destiny. Because the world is mine. Take courage, choose believe. I was meant to take a leap. Take the lead. Take the lead. Take the lead. Getting caught in rapid changes. Could we bring a change right now? Take the lead. Reaching for perfection's gonna lead the way to so much more. So in this heart of mine, I'll choose to We're shifting the paradigm, ready or not. We're thinking ahead of it now, and we're getting out the box. So in this heart of mine, I'll choose to be the lead in lighting up our destiny. Because the world is mine. Take courage, choose believe. I was meant to take a leap. Take the lead. Take the lead. Take the lead. lost and